Welcome back to Our Community. Susie Thomas visiting with Cindy Bishop and Kristen. They are from Hope House for Women of Stark County. Now, right away, somebody from Tuscarawas County is going to go, we need a Hope House. Is anyone invited, or you must be from Stark County?
No, you can be from anywhere. I've had people from Zanesville, Garrettsville, wherever.
Mm-hmm.
I've had a pastor that brought a young woman up from Zanesville. She went through treatment, and then she came and stayed at our place.
Something that Kristen mentioned, just the heroin epidemic, and nobody, just as you said, nobody signs up to be having heroin in their life, but it can happen drip by drip by drip. You do quite a bit of work with women in heroin. Tell us about that.
It's a tough battle. We've lost 3 women over the years here, just lately even.
I'm so sorry.
From heroin, and many people that they've known. And it's really hard because that's one of those things that a lot of times starts out very innocently, like having surgery or, having something done that you have to take pain medication for a little while, and then it just goes from there. And before you know it, they're shooting up heroin. And it's something that a lot of people don't want to look at, but it could really happen to anyone.
Let's stop right there because, yes, and even with this movement to have medical marijuana approved, when you look at how many people start off just taking their medication that's been prescribed to them and then become addicted to prescription medicine and then have to find it on the street somewhere, I wonder why we wanted to add one more medication that somebody can be, because marijuana now is not the marijuana of the 1970s. This is pretty strong stuff that's out there. And why we would want to add one more thing that somebody could become potentially addicted to and then crave it and need it to feel like they can function.
Well, and marijuana is a gateway drug, period. That's proven over and over. I believe that there are medicinal purposes for it.
Mm-hmm, sure.
But I don't think they can regulate it good enough for that to be what it is, just used for that.
Well, and when you also hear about how many pills sometimes are prescribed, you think, really, must we go? Because if you're going 3 weeks on something, then that can be an addiction.
Definitely.
It just seems like we ought to go with the minimal. I'm going based on no medical experience whatsoever. I'm not, don't listen to me. I'm not a professional medical person. But it just seems to me common sense that you'd want to take as few as possible to stay ahead of the pain, but not become addicted to it and dependent upon it. Your thoughts?
Some people have that addictive personality. They can't help that. It's a disease, actually. It's proven medically to be a disease, just like anything else. The problem is, I believe, that there's doctors and pharmacists out there that are, they're making a lot of money. And that makes it harder for it to be, slowed down. Now, the bad thing is you can go to the hospital and have something really seriously wrong with you, and they're very, they don't want to give you pain meds for that because of it's an epidemic around here. It's an epidemic all over. And they are trying to, watch who's getting what and how long they're getting it. But there's always, those that are on the street that you can go get it from.
Fortunately, just as you say, I think people have realized we have a horrific epidemic and that a lot of organizations are beginning to work together with the Mental Health Board and so forth to be able to get together and do something constructive about this epidemic and help people who have the addiction.
We are part of the Warrior Project, which is a big thing that's starting up in Canton that people can come there. It's not an organization to get rid of the 12-step programs that are available, because those are definitely needed, but it's more support. And the more support that you can give people, the better their chances are. These at the Warrior Project, they'll go right to somebody's house if they're struggling, and they'll help them get through that time. And they get them into different treatment centers that you might not be able to get in quite as fast. Sometimes they can get people in that are desperate. It's really hard now. I mean, I've had 13 women there. I have 13 women there. Well, I just had one leave, so 12 women there. And I would say all of them but 2 have a heroin addiction problem. Yeah.
And while they're staying with you, so how do they get by?
Well, we work a lot with Quest too, so a lot of them are hooked up with the Quest. They've come from Quest to our house just to give them a little more time to get stable before they're out on their own. Some of them are on Suboxone or methadone program. Those things, those are harm reduction, and they use those for a little while to help them to get more time under their belt per se. But
is there something that families or friends can be watching for, any flags to notice in a loved one to see that they might be heading this way? Kristen, you have any thoughts on that?
Definitely changed behavior. I've just went through it with my boyfriend, who I had to be on that flip side of it, and you can definitely tell. I think what the problem is families want to pretend like it's not going on. Oh, this is not happening to my child, and then it becomes too late. I mean, it's very apparent when someone is using drugs or alcohol. I mean, they get very aggressive, they're very short-tempered. I mean, their whole demeanor changes. It's very...
As a parent, I can remember, and as a mom of teenage boys at one point, when they get quieter, when the grades change, some of that is being a teenage boy.
Yeah.
And then at some point, you got to think, okay, I need to be aware. What is just adolescence and angst, and what is actual a problem with substance abuse? Any thoughts on that?
Well, I want to just say, when I was in high school, it wasn't heroin. I mean, you're just doing what normal kids are doing. Not that it's okay to go and have a couple beers, but I mean, that's how it starts out, smoking a joint. So in the beginning, I think parents don't see it as a problem because they're not on heroin. They're not doing these heavy drugs, when really that's how it starts. That's how my addiction started. So
you would suggest intervene right away.
Yeah.
Right away.
Talk about it. I mean, it's real important to talk about your kid, to talk about it with your kids, and, tell them that, drinking, smoking pot, all those things are just the beginnings.
Yes.
And a lot of kids don't want to hear that, but the truth of the matter is, I've already taken one of my granddaughters right down on the walk so that she could see what it's like for a woman that decides to use drugs. Some people might not agree with that, but when she saw those ladies out there walking on the street trying to sell themselves, that had an impact on her. And I think that we just really have to be on it, or we're going to lose more and more people every day.
You talk about an addictive personality. It's so interesting, I think, how things can go one of two ways, because also those same things, those same personality traits are what make people so sweet and so passionate and do everything, whatever they're going to do, 100%. And they will be their most loyal friend. But then also that same personality, if introduced to drugs and alcohol, can really swerve that direction as well. Do you agree with that, or am I just way off base there?
No, I love working out, and once I get into working out and eating healthy, I mean, yep, I have my Fitbit on too.
We're comparing Fitbits.
I don't have one.
I either do it all or nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm black or white. That's how my brain works, and it can be good or bad. Yeah.
And that can be such an asset.
Yeah.
Truly.
It really can, but it can be such a downfall too.
Yes.
But you're right. It's like that addictive personality just makes you be so adamant about what it is that you want to do. And I guess the whole thing is talking to your kids from the very beginning, about staying in sports, keeping busy, know what they're doing on the computer, know who they're going with, because if you don't do that, something's going to happen. They're going to start using.
Can I add, be the party house?
Yeah.
Be the place where everybody hangs out, so you know all their friends and all the
Definitely.
parents and everything that's going on. And there's that tip over of you don't want to become the helicopter parent, and because when they go off to college, then they just go crazy because they're so used to that
Right.
highly involved parental. But there is a point, isn't there, where parents can be very involved in their children's lives and need to be.
Definitely. And check on them.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people, you know, they used to go and take their kids to the roller skating rink and then they'd go back 3 hours later, pick them up. Well, those are the kind of things that you need to check and make sure that's what they're doing, because I'm telling you, they're starting to use drugs, you know, like in the 6th grade, if not before that now.
Okay, you're freaking a lot of people out right now, Cindy, but it's good to know, good information. And parents need to know we must do whatever we can do as parents, and then at some point really trust God too,
Yes,
and
that's
to know that he loves them even more than we do, and he's working there in their lives as well.
Yep.
You mentioned the Warrior Project. Also, there's something called Father's Run. What's that?
The Father's Run does benefit. They are too fighting this battle. You'll see the signs around different places. It says heroin, so many overdoses.
deaths, how many people got in treatment.
Yes, and those are provided by the Father's Run, the Larry that runs that. There's Solace, which is for people that have lost their children to overdose. They do great things too. We're involved with them. It's just a big community thing that we're trying to do to help save even one person.
Yeah.
You know.
This is how it will get turned around.
Yes.
People like you who care and recognize, first of all, that we've got a big problem here
Yes, we do.
to do something about it. So what can people do? How can we help Hope House for Women?
Well, number one, pray for us. We need to be covered in prayer. Our whole community does. Anybody that wants any information, we have a website. It's Hope House for Women, the number 4, hopehouseforwomen.com. You can go there. We can always use household supplies, things like that. Of course, money donate. We run strictly on donation. We take nothing from the state to run, and God provides. So that way, the women, a lot of times the women will have maybe Christian mentors that come and pick them up and spend time with them, do Bible study with them, things like that. But I would say the main thing is just to keep praying for us and for all those out there that are still struggling.
Kristen, is there anything you would add to that list of needs? Because you said you just kind of picked up and went, I'll just go now. So I'm thinking we tend to go without feminine hygiene products and things like that are always necessary when there's women. Anything else you would add to that list of what would you have liked to have been there when you arrived? Fuzzy slippers?
Well, I was fortunate enough to have stuff, but for the women, some of those women come with nothing. So, I mean, they come with no clothes. So, a lot of donations, clothing too, we get, and a lot of the girls come with nothing and leave with 10 bags full of clothes. So,
Yeah. What about children? Do you take women with children?
We don't house children there, only because it's really hard when you have 4 women in a house and a child, and they're all trying to be mom, you know. And it's hard when those other ladies might not even have custody at all, and they don't get to see their children. It's hard for them. We do allow the kids to come and stay on weekends, though, or like Christmas break, summer, they can come and stay.
Great.
And a lot of times they, need things for their kids as well that we can help that way too.
Go to hopehouse4women.com. Cindy Bishop, Kristen, thank you so much for what you're doing in our community.
Thank you for having us today.